What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Do you guys notice something? No more fishbowl looking for me. Got 5% all around. It makes the car look way better too. But yeah, I had to do it. It keeps the heat out, and right now especially it's hot as hell, so needed that. But in today's video, we are gonna be installing the clock spring on this car. But before we get started, I'm gonna go get a coffee because it is burning hot right now and I could use that caffeine right now. I just finished working on one of my friend's cars. Did a transmission pan install on his car. But yeah, we're gonna go get a coffee, come back and get started on this. Man, those cold starts are deadly. They're extremely loud, but let's get going. Oh, also another thing, I ended up swapping out the shifter. So this is a weighted one. It says M Performance in the middle. There you go. It's really nice. It's like Alcantara right here, a little carbon trim right here. I did like this one, but honestly, I couldn't use this no more. Like when it gets really hot, this like it peels up and it's very annoying. And also when I would like go through gears like second, third, and just like bang gears when I'll be racing, this thing would pop off. I shifted down to fourth, but I guess I went too hard that this thing popped off. And I don't know how, but the shifter, I don't know if you guys know, when you guys take this off, it's just like a piece of metal with like two slits where this just sits inside. It pretty much sliced up my hand, started bleeding all over the car. So I was like, yeah, I'm tired of this. This is like the third time that this thing has popped off on me. So that's why I swapped it out. Okay guys, so it's time to get started on this. First thing you're gonna wanna do is take off the negative terminal on the battery. Make sure the battery's off, because if it's on and you start trying to mess with this and for whatever reason this ends up popping in your face, you're gonna be in a lot of pain. So make sure you remove the negative terminal. Next step is you're gonna grab a flathead screwdriver. You're gonna have two little soft spots in here, so you can tell right here that your screwdriver can go in. And on the other side, if you have just a base model, then you're just pretty much gonna have one down here. But let's start popping this airbag off. You are going to want to put it in this way and push in. You are going to push like a retaining clip, and then with your hand try to pry this side off first, and then do the same thing to the other side. So let me go ahead and start getting this airbag removed. So that's one side. As you can tell, it's coming off. So the same thing on the other side. Put your screwdriver through that soft spot on the steering wheel and pop it off, and then the airbag should come off. And now that the airbag is taken off, as you can tell, you have a little retaining clip here and another one here, and that's what you're pushing in from the side of the steering wheel. So now what we're gonna do is turn this to the side, and you're gonna want to remove these clips with a small flathead, a thin one. You are gonna want to pry on these tabs, make sure you don't break them, and then slightly pull up, and they should come off. So that side's off. And just like that, they come off. Now that that's removed, the next step is we're gonna undo these connectors. So just with this small flathead screwdriver, just pushing the tabs and then pull out. That's one right there. Alright, so now that the connectors are off, you're going to want to remove this bolt, which is going to be a 5/8 socket. So the bolt's now off. Put that to the side, and then just gently pull on the steering wheel. You want to make sure your steering wheel is straight before you start removing it. One way to know that if your steering wheel is actually centered, you have two tabs or two marks, which is right here on the actual spline and then on the actual steering wheel right here. So as long as these two are lined up, that means you're centered with your steering wheel. But let me go ahead, remove this steering wheel. Now that we can finally take this off, just wiggle it, it should come right off. And there is the clock spring. Okay, so the next step to actually get to the actual clock spring itself, we are gonna have to undo these trims. So I mean, I don't have a plastic pry tool, which I should have, but I don't. So I am gonna be using a screwdriver. Hopefully I don't damage my trim, or I'll probably just try to pop it off with my hands. All right guys, so the trims are off. It was a pain in the butt, but technically the top piece, you see these little tabs right here, this one and this one, it's grabbing onto like these little hooks right here. So this one right here, and then you also have some back here. So you pretty much just pry up on those. And on the bottom section, which is the bottom piece right here, you see this metal piece right here? So that is hooked on this. So technically all you're gonna do is get your screwdriver and pull it away from it at the same time while you're pulling down, and this should come off. So now that's out of the way. Now that we have the clock spring here, we are going to remove the connectors that are in the back. So just the tab right there, another connector that's back here. So let's go ahead and remove that. Push the tab in. And that should come off. So for this one, you have a tab back here. You're gonna push the tab in, lift up on that gray section. All right, so like I was saying, there's this tab right here. Hopefully this thing can focus. So you're gonna push on this tab, which is technically like this. So this is sitting over it. Push the tab and then you pull this down. Make sure you undo it all the way, and then you should be able to pry it off. Okay, so now that the connectors are both off, we are going to start undoing these bolts, which is this one, this one, this one, and that one, which is going to be a T25 bit. So we're going to remove those 4 bolts, and then we should be able to pop off this clock spring. So let's start doing that. All right, so now that the 4 bolts are off, you should be able to just pop this off. Now that we have this removed, we are going to be swapping it out with this one right here. But I'm not going to use the entire assembly on this. I'm just going to take off the top of the clock spring and put it on this one. I didn't really tell you guys why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because my steering wheel, the buttons on it stopped working, like my volume and, you know, my channels and all that stuff. So none of the buttons were working. I did check all the fuses, everything is good. So the next thing I was gonna check was this, and hopefully it works, because I'm not able to go into my JB4 menu. Like I said, my volumes wasn't working, nothing. So this is usually what happens if it's not your fuse, which tends to be my case. So that's why I'm swapping this out, for any of you guys wondering why I was doing this. So what you're gonna wanna do to remove the clock spring from the main housing, I guess, you're gonna pop off this tab right here, this one here, and the ones right here on the side. So just get a small flathead like this, or something that'll pry that off, just so you don't break it, and then it should pop off. Just gently. So once everything is off, you just push this tab, push it down a bit, and it should pop off. Alright guys, so here's the other piece that I removed from that one. So now you want to make sure that this arrow is pointing to this little notch right here, because this piece right here, section, this little tab, this was gonna sit in there. So just make sure this is straight up, and then you can just pop this back in. It should pop in. Just make sure all the tabs are clicked in. So let's go ahead and put this back on. Just like that. All right, so now that everything is on, we're just gonna put the screws back on, tighten it up, connect the two connectors that we undid. I'm just gonna put the steering wheel on, connect it, connect the battery, and then hopefully this was the fix to my steering wheel problems. If not, then I'm not sure what it's gonna be. But let me go ahead, start putting everything back, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so everything's connected. I'm just gonna go connect the battery. Hopefully I can go into my JB4 menu, and hopefully my buttons work. So fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. Alright guys, so I'm gonna go into the JB4 menu. I'm gonna go ahead and push the volume down and the arrow. Yep, that was my issue. So as you guys can see, I'm on map 2, which is, I'm running like 14 psi. So it turns out it was this clock spring that went bad. So this is now trash. And now that everything is good, and just exit out the menu, and now everything is good. Now I can just start putting all these trim pieces back on, and that should be it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this helped. So if your steering wheel buttons don't work, check your fuses first, and if everything checks out and none of your fuses are blown, then your next culprit would be pretty much the clock spring. That's what I did on mine, and now it works. So finally, but I hope this video was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. There's more videos coming. We got to get this car ready. Turbo should be getting here within probably mid of August, so we got other stuff to install on this car. But yeah guys, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.